So interdependence between economies. So when we talk about interdependence, we're talking about how each sector within the economy, how each sector within the business classes rely on each other. How the primary sector have to rely on the secondary sector, how the secondary sector has to rely on the tertiary sector. That is what we call interdependence. So let's read. Businesses in each of the three sectors above are likely to be interdependent. This means that they rely on each other. For example, in the primary sector, cereal farmers rely on bakers in the secondary sector for their sales of wheat. Bakers may depend on advertising agencies in the tertiary sector to produce newspaper adverts for their products. The transport industry in the tertiary sector relies on the oil industry in the primary sector to provide fuels for its vehicles. Workers in both the secondary and tertiary sectors rely on the primary sector for their food. In modern developed economies, this interdependence is huge. So there's interdependence between the sector economies, because each one cannot solely do what it has to do. The primary sector relies on the secondary sector. For those that plant wheat, they have to rely on the bakers in the secondary sector to make it become bread or whatever it is before they can buy. If there's no business in the secondary sector, if there are no bakeries in the secondary sector, primary sector will not be selling wheat. Do you get it? Okay. The secondary sector, the bakery might rely on the tertiary sector for advertisement, TV stations for advertisement. So those that are working in the secondary sector and those that are working in the tertiary sector relies on the primary sector for their food. So that means there's interdependence within the three sectors of the economy. Is it clear? So we go to changes in sectors. The number of people employed. Yeah, sure. This implies that the number of people employed in each sector doesn't stay the same over time. So when we talk about changes in sectors, it means the numbers of people that are engaged in each sector do not remain the same for a very long period of time. The percentage will change. So as soon as the economy becomes more developed, the percentage from the primary sector starts falling to the secondary, from secondary sector start falling to the tertiary sector. But we have to put in mind that in the tertiary sector, that is where a developed economy is being defined, because in that sector they employ more workers in the tertiary sector. So any economy that has its largest proportion of employment in the tertiary sector will be considered as a developed economy. Is it clear? Yes. All right. So that takes us to the industrialization. But before we go into the industrialization, first I will have to explain what industrialization is. Not here, but I will tell you. There's what we call industrialization before deindustrialization. So what is industrialization? Industrialization is the process through which or whereby a non-industrialized economy becomes industrialized. That means an economy that is full of primary sector becomes manufacturing sector. That is what we call industrialization. So they start manufacturing. That is what we call industrialization. Is it clear? Mm-hmm. So industrialization is what? The process, the process of changing from non-industrialized economy to become industrialized. Is it clear? Yes. So that is what we call industrialization. Then we have deindustrialization. For deindustrialization, this means that the manufacturing sector of that economy starts going on decline. That is what we call deindustrialization. Is it clear? Yes. So what are the causes for this deindustrialization? One, people preferring to spend their income on services than manufactured goods. So what I'm saying here is this, that one of the reasons why we have deindustrialization is that people start spending more. They prefer to spend on services like accountancy, like tourism, than spending on manufactured goods. So the sales in the manufacturing sector is falling. As a result, a lot of manufacturing businesses start becoming service business. Do you get it? Yes. So the competition in the production of manufactured goods is high due to importation. So another reason is that competition in the secondary sector is high. So because the competition in the secondary sector is high, a lot of businesses are opting out. They are leaving the industry because they cannot compete further. What I'm saying is, one of the reasons why we have less or fall in industrialization in an economy is that there's high competition in the secondary sector. And if there's high competition in the secondary sector, those small businesses in the secondary sector that cannot cope with the competition or with the competitiveness, they fall out, they stop. So that reduces the number of firms in the secondary sector. And that is deindustrialization. Is it clear? The third point is about due to development in the country. So if the country is developing, then if the country is developing, they will start thinking more of services, the tertiary sector, rather than the primary sector or secondary sector. So that reduces the number of the secondary sector too. And the last one here, advancement in technology. When we talk about advancement in technology, we're talking about technological improvement. So with technology improvement, a lot of businesses, a lot of people, they start thinking more of services. So people start replacing, businesses start replacing people with machines. Do you get it? Yes. The secondary sector uses more of people then, but now with advancement in technological advancement, there are different machines that can do the job which people do. So machines are replacing people in the secondary sector. So as a result of that, there's decline in the secondary sector. Do you get it? Yes. So we go to the MCQs.
Mr. When there is a decline in the
it falls.
Sector, yes, in the tertiary sector,
it will increase.
Yes.
So that is still the industrialization, because industrialization is about manufacturing. Yes. Is it clear? Okay. So we have they said, okay, we have the multiple choice questions. Gold mining in South Africa is an example of business activity in which sector? Gold mining. That's what? Gold mining.
Gold mining,
primary sector, good. Question 2. Which of the following business operates in the secondary sector? Secondary sector, we have Santander Bank, we have Qatar Airways, we have Ford Motor Company, we have McDonald's.
Secondary sector.
Secondary, yeah.
Ford
Motor Company, that they manufacture cars, so that's the secondary sector. Yes. Then the third question says, which of the following countries has most likely seen the sharpest decline in employment in the primary sector in the last 50 years? USA. Because now their transaction is basically tertiary sector. I think it's clear. So that's about industrialization, the industrialization too.